The FNAF Faz-Facts are a group of unused facts present within the text files of FNAF AR Special Delivery, and until these facts are deemed non-canon by illumix or scot, we should be treating them as canon confirmations in the FNAF series and the game continuity. So those FNAF Faz-Facts are what we're exploring today. Greetings gamers and welcome back to Top 10 Gaming. I'm Connor Monroe and this is the Top 10 FNAF Faz-Facts Explained, even though there's only 9 Faz-Facts. They really had to do that to me. Whatever, let's do it. And at 9, Springlock Suits. The original animatronics featured Springlock Suits that had to be hand cranked to allow them to be worn safely by employees. This was something we already knew based on FNAF 3 minigames, but it's nice to get confirmation anyway. The original animatronic suits were Springlock suits that could be worn by employees in suit mode or put into robot mode to allow them to perform on stage. This also confirms that the item we see in Purple Guy's hand in FNAF 2 is in fact a Springlock crank like we've been assuming, although we did at first think that it was a phone. But now we have a better understanding, although this proposes another idea. If that was a Springlock crank, does that mean that the animatronics Purple Guy was disassembling in those minigames were actually Springlock suits? Because if that was the case, we would have a whole other reason as to how the missing children died, because that would certainly be more agonizing than like a knife through the chest or something. And it ate yummy pizza. Fazbear's Twisted Pizza recipe was voted most yummy by 6 out of 10 children in every survey from 1988 to 1993. This gives us a bit more insight into the actual locations present within the FNAF universe. The existence of a Twisted Pizza also implies that this is what the Twisted animatronics were named after, and it actually makes some form of sense, at least to my twisted brain. Since if the pizza was voted the most yummy and the animatronics were meant to show you something that you wanted to see, I guess your eyes would also consider those animatronics to be the most yummy. But this could also just be an indication as to the years the Twisted animatronics were operational, since we do get the years of 1988 to 1993, which seems to line up with the events of the books and the games. Since Scott is clever in hiding Easter eggs and explanations, maybe this is what he had in mind when writing this Faz Fact. And at 7, first location. The first location of the Freddy's franchise was actually Fredbear's Family Diner. This was also something that was merely an assumption until this point, but for a while we considered the Fredbear's Family Diner to be the first location, so at least we get some more timeline confirmations there. It's interesting though that Scott chose to confirm this particular location instead of something else that could have had more significance, which leads me to assume that there might be more to Fredbear's Family Diner than we first imagined, and that there might be more to take a look at here. The diner makes an appearance in FNAF 2 and 3 according to the wiki, although it appears that the Take Cake minigame does happen at the FNAF 2 location thanks to the security puppet minigame from FNAF 6, so maybe we should be taking a closer and more intense look at the FNAF 3 minigames to see if there's anything else we can find. And at 6, the creator. The famous William Afton is the man responsible for the creation of the animatronics we all know and love. This is something that has actually been bugging me for a while, because while the books have William as a creator, we weren't sure if he was the creator or just a technician in the games. So with this line confirming William as a creator, we may be able to go back and fine-tune some of our speculation with this new information. Since he is a creator, he probably would be the only one who knew how to deal with these animatronics, so the possibility of another technician is now lower than it was at first. Him hiding the bodies in the suits suddenly becomes more plausible as nobody would really understand how to open them, and the FNAF VR parts and service minigames become more telling, because while yes, they could have been made by the studio, the sheer complexity of them seems to indicate that William had a hand in instructing them on where to take the minigame. Perhaps this was truly how William had set up these animatronics to work, so nobody would be able to mess with this hiding spot. Because I mean, like, why would you press both sides of Bonnie's head? Like, why would you pull on Freddy's bow to get his chest to open? Just doesn't make sense. And at 5, first animatronics. Some of the first animatronics built by William Afton featured claw mechanisms that were able to hide away items inside them. This is one of the best Faz Facts we got, because thanks to this line, we know that William intended on killing even before acquiring Fredbear's Family Diner, since that was the first location. And the only animatronics we see have a claw mechanism are the ones from Sister Location. Baby is the only one we actually see use the claw, but with containment chambers being present, we can assume the other Fun Times have them as well. Which means the Fun Times were made before they opened the first Freddy Fazbear's location. Hence why William was able to open Circus Baby's so quickly when he learned that Fazbear's was going to close. Which means if not for Baby's line of being on stage for one day, we wouldn't really know when Sister Location takes place, or at least we would have to question it. And at 4, dangerous. In 1993, the most dangerous profession in the United States was actually night security guard. This seems to just be a funny nod at how many people die in the Fazbear restaurants, because the actual most dangerous profession from 1993 in the US was, at least based on number of deaths per 100k employed, was fishers. But based on just sheer amount of deaths, it was operators, fabricators, and laborers, with nearly 2,000 deaths. So if night security guard was actually the most dangerous job, more than 1,959 security guards would have needed to die in the FNAF universe, which is incredible to say the least. However, if we're going off the number of deaths per 100,000 employed, over 159 security guards would have needed to die, which is a much more reasonable yet still shocking number. This is also not including the fact that the president is technically the deadliest job in the US, since a high number have been assassinated. That's just an even higher percentage, but we don't talk about that. Getting close to the end in number 3, location confirmed. Despite the name, hurricanes are actually not the leading cause of death of children in Hurricane, Utah. This is a more specific confirmation of the location that the game takes place in, since Utah was the state that things had been narrowed down to thanks to the pay stubs we get in the games, but this just places it in Hurricane, Utah. Now, I don't think that there's much else to be learned from this. I don't think that Scott pulled a Gravity Falls with a real scavenger hunt that was planned or that was started in Hurricane, but I can't really rule it out, because at this point, we've jumped through hoops more than starving dolphins at SeaWorld to get lore, so a real life issue, or a real life scavenger hunt like this would probably be in the cards, at least if Scott hadn't announced his retirement. But I think that since these FAS-Facts were found in the game files and were unused, that means if there was an ARG or scavenger hunt planned, it's no longer in the works. Who knows though, maybe you'll find a Woodland Freddy statue or something out in the woods. At least if it was started. Are there woods in Utah? I don't know. Can we get the king of random on this? Just go out looking. I'll join. Penultimately, in number 2, Cupcake. Chica's Cupcake features a unique set of servos and its own independent suite of software. This is the Faz-Fact that was the foundation of my explanation as to where a Shadow Chica would have gone. The fact that the Cupcake is its own separate animatronic means that it could be possessed separate to Chica. So if there was ever a reason for Shadow Chica, or if the Shadow animatronics are spirits that somehow got kicked out of their animatronics, Chica's shadow could have just been hiding in the Cupcake. But the Cupcake being their own animatronic is also something we've already known, since in FNAF VR's parts and service minigame, you see the Cupcake jump off its plate and run around before you can catch it and put it back on the plate. The Cupcake also got its own jump scare in FNAF 4, but that could have also just been Chica holding it up or throwing it at you, but I doubt it at this point. Finally, in number 1, I wanna be a rock star. Man, Bonnie's playing Nickelback. Rockstar Bonnie was developed from the original Bonnie for use in Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria's franchise operations. This is something that is highly interesting, but not really of big consequence. The fact that Rockstar Bonnie is a development of original Bonnie indicates that maybe the original animatronics weren't melted down in the games. Sure, Candy Cadet speaks of 5 things becoming one thing, but maybe that wasn't referring to the fun times at all, since in the books, the fun times were created by melting down the endoskeletons of the original 5 animatronics to make Remnant, which is the molten soul metal, but all the metals mixed together into one horrific mess, hence why they had to come together into Ennard. Also, we also got a confirmation that the Fun Times were the first animatronics that William made, so he wouldn't have made the other ones first, therefore they wouldn't be possessed, at least in the game world. So if the Rockstar animatronics are the original animatronics just refurbished, maybe this isn't the case, and the FNAF 3 ending was accurate with the souls being put to rest, which would mean that Golden Freddy is at rest, meaning that the one you should not have killed couldn't be Cassidy. At least that's how it seems to me. But this could also be a misinterpretation, and they just meant that it was designed to be like the original Bonnie instead of using the same parts. It's not specific enough, but it does actually sound like they are meant to be the same parts, or at least the endoskeleton is the same. And again, with the Fun Times being first, that means that they couldn't be possessed by the original 5. I mean, that's how it's looking at this point, at least until illumix says that these aren't canon, if they end up saying that they aren't canon. There we have it, friends, the FNAF Faz-Facts Explored. I know that it was only 9, but there are literally only 9 Faz-Facts, so I can't really make up another one to make 10, that would be kinda bogus. What do you make of these Faz-Facts, and do you think any of them have more lore significance than at first glance? Be sure you let me know down below. Thank you all so much for watching. I have been and shall remain Connor Monroe, and I'll see you in another video. Must fix the tie. Can't be Barney with a crooked tie. Clip on, right? It's not clip on. I watched a YouTube video this morning telling me how to tie it. Actually, no, I watched it like last week and I remembered. I'm very impressed with myself. Chica's Cupcake features a unique set of servos and its own independently suite of software. That's not what that should say, even though I literally copied and pasted that. That's not proper grammar. That annoys me. Okay.